What's up guys, but I'm Fire here back with a video, and today we're going to be giving you guys a full guide on how to quick adjust in Madden 22, the updated version. Now this is a video that I posted in the very beginning of the year. It's done very well. It's been my best video of Madden 22, and we're just going to show an updated version of that, kind of some things. And if you guys have not seen that, which wouldn't be too out of the ordinary considering it was in the very beginning of Madden 22, then definitely check this out. It's going to be very helpful to beginners. Some advanced people will probably know a lot of these, but you can still learn, in my opinion, with this guide. Now, the first thing that we're going to go over is how to actually do it. We're going to go over some basic adjustments, then we'll get into actually how to quick adjust. Now, first of all, what is quick adjusting? Now, quick adjusting is going to be on the defensive side of the ball almost exclusively, and it's basically going to be how to change your coverages around, how to put players in certain zones that they cannot be in. So, for example, we're in a cover 2, Tampa 2, but let's say he is beating us up the middle of this defense, which is the weakness of the cover 2. We can basically turn this into a cover 3 just like that with 3 quick adjustments. And that is pretty much what quick adjusting is. You can man up different players, basically switching your defensive play art, if that makes sense. So we're just going to go ahead, reset our play back to our standard coverage just like so. Now, first thing we're going to do is how to actually do it on your controller. Now, the first thing we're going to go over is the pre-play. Now, you notice that the pre-play is going to be the right stick. You can see it in the bottom right corner there with the Patriots logo on there. That's going to be your pre-play. Now, this is basically going to show you what button you click to use everything. Now, a common misconception with defenses and how to do things is in order to audible, and I see this with a lot of beginner players just when I'm playing with my friends on the couch, whoever it might be, you'll notice what they do to audible their defense. For example, they'll press the right stick in, and then they'll press X. And then obviously your audibles will pull up, but that's not something you have to do. All you have to do is press X and your audibles are there. So this right stick is never going to need to be used for anything. Simply, it is just used to show beginning players how to do it, but in order to audible, I don't have to press right stick every time to pull this up and then press X. We can simply just press X. But I'm going to use this just to kind of show you what each button does. So we showed audible, that's going to be your X or square icon if you're on PlayStation. The next thing we're going to do is our quick adjust button, which is going to be Y or triangle. This is going to adjust your secondary. So you see your secondary adjustments, and we'll go over through each one, but I'm just going over general stuff in the beginning here. So the secondary is going to be Y or triangle. Your defensive line is going to be D-pad to the left. Your defensive keys is going to be R1, which is going to be kind of your general adjustments. Basically, your defensive keys are your adjustments, kind of quick adjustments for the entire defense. So you can spread your entire defense. You can run commit, which I'm sure is a term you've heard a lot. And then, of course, you can do things like quarterback contain, which is another very popular adjustment, especially in this year's game. So defensive line, D-pad to the left. Linebacker is going to be D-pad to the right, and then your A or X icon, if you're on PlayStation, is going to be your defensive, or your individual assignment, my fault. So, for example, if I'm on the D-line and I want to put this guy in whoever, we just press A, and now we can put him in whatever zone, whatever we want. You can move around. You'll see people kind of click over, because sometimes it is easier if we're just adjusting these two guys to actually just go like this rather than go to your quick adjustments. But, yeah, so we're going to start out with the defensive keys, because that is the simplest adjustment, the basis adjustment. And again, you're going to press R1 for that, and you see we have a couple of different things. The first thing on the left analog stick, I rarely will use that. Generally, you're going to only want to pinch one specific defensive group. So if I only want to pinch my D-line, and I'm not going to press R1 and then down on the left stick, because that's going to press your DBs, pinch your linebackers, and pinch your defensive line. That's not really something that you want to do, but it is there. If you shift to the right, it's going to shift everybody to the right. Again, if you spread, it's going to spread your D-line, spread your linebackers, and then back off your cornerbacks, as well as your safeties, I think, which, yeah, so that is there. So again, I generally will never use the left analog stick to shift the whole defense. The right analog stick does come in handy. Let's say it's 4th down in inches. He audibles into a formation that he has almost exclusively ran the ball out of. For example, the inside zone split. He's audible to this several times throughout the game. He's ran the ball every time. It's 4th and inches. We want to guarantee that we can stop the run. It might not prevent a first down, but it will prevent a significant gain. And all you have to do for that is double tap R1 and press down on that right analog stick. That's going to be run up middle. If you think they're running to the right, it's going to be to the right or the left. I think run up the middle is the best one. Even if they run stretch, a lot of times it's still defended well. So we're going to run commit, for example. We'll go ahead and snap the ball, and now you see everybody plays the run. They weren't able to gain a yard. So that is how you run commit. If you've heard people say that, I'm assuming if you watch any Madden at all. And then pass commit's going to be up on that right analog stick. So pass committing, what pass committing does is something you do 3rd and 20, 3rd and 15, 2nd and 15. They're probably passing the football. This will help you get better sheds if I am not mistaken. It's not clear cut what it does, but it does. It's kind of the situations in real football where your defensive linemen in 2nd and 15s are able to pin their ears back and just rush the passer. They're not going to worry about the run. They're going to just straight rush the passer, and it's going to kind of help them shed. If I'm not mistaken, that's kind of what it does. Again, these aren't clear exactly what they do, but more or less, I'm guessing from what I've played. Now you have A and X here at the bottom. It's going to be option quarterback. I've actually never used those because there is a coach adjustment that does the same thing, so kind of useless if you ask me. I'm not going to, again, I don't really want to talk about things that I don't use. I'm not going to lead you guys in the wrong direction talking about random stuff. And honestly, again, a lot of people will snap the ball fast. You're not going to have too much time to go through and, okay, looking, what do we want to do? It's just a useless adjustment, and it's a waste of your time pre-play. The last thing is going to be double tapping RB. That's going to be QB contain. It's really easy because you can just double tap RB super fast, split second adjustment. And you will notice here's your defensive line. Normally, you QB contain, double tap R1. Now they look like this, and pretty much what happens is you run out, they contain, which, again, doesn't usually work for escape artists, and especially if they run play action. But those are all your RB adjustments. Let's go ahead and talk about our actual adjustments, which is going to be our quick adjustments. And we're going to start out in the secondary. As you notice, is the Y or triangle button. And this is the most common one you will do because a lot of adjustments, a lot of defenses do involve the secondary adjustments. Really, a lot of my videos, almost every play, you will be having to involve at least some of these adjustments. For a lot of blitzes, you will need it as well. But we're just going to pretty much go through every quick adjustment option that you have on the outside corner position, the safety position, as well as the slot corner position. All three of those will be different, mind you. So we're going to start out with our outside cornerback. We're just going to use Jalen Mills on that left-hand side. Now, how do you pull up your quick adjustments? As you see, it is Y, but if you just press Y, this is going to be your options to standardly press your coverages. So you can do things like press here. You can do things like base align. You ever hear someone say base align? What does that mean? It's going to be triangle, the left stick to the right. And this will guarantee that your player looks the exact same against any other coverage. If you are not base aligned, and let's say they go to a spread formation. We go to spread. You will see that your coverage is moving. Your linebacker that was once inside is now outside. Your slot corner moves a couple of steps outside, as well as your cornerbacks. But if we now base align, our coverage moves back to how it was against bunch, and that is how you base align. That is exactly what it does. So a lot of coverages will have you base align just to have the same look every single time. More constants, less things to worry about. Why is my corner in this spot? We don't want him there. Let's just base align, have everything be the right way. So again, that's just by pressing triangle. You get all of these. You can also shade over the top. If you ever hear someone say run man coverage, but shade over the top. For example, we're running man. I'm not sure why this guy's over here, but we're going to run man coverage. We're going to shade over the top. What does that do? It's going to prevent your corners from pressing. So you'll take a look on that left side. He's not going to press, and he's just going to straight up run. So sometimes people see press man. They'll try and beat you over the top. Simple coverage there. You can also have options to shade underneath. For example, we're in this cover 2, Tampa 2. If we shade underneath, those cloud flats are now going to turn into hard flats. That's an option there. You can also shade outside and inside. Those do little to change, especially in a zone drop heavy game. But if you are running stock coverages, those can maybe help slightly. I will rarely use outside or inside shade adjustments. I will use underneath and over the top adjustments. And the benefit of just shading underneath is that I don't have to quick adjust both X and B. I can just do them both at the same time, and it's going to save me a lot of time. All of these adjustments are about saving time. You'll again see other things lower level players will do is they're just going to click on everybody to get to their player, and then they're going to put them in like a hard flat. If you do not know, which I know it's hard to believe some people don't actually know this for my more advanced players, but you can actually move in whatever direction you want just by pressing B and holding the left stick in the direction you want. So we can go diagonal. I want to go into strong safety. I'm holding my left analog stick northeast in this case, and it's going to go there. You can go left, right, left, down, up, up. Pretty simple stuff. Because again, you see, and if you have identifier, you also see this when you're playing like a bot. You'll see him like switching like this to get to the linebacker, and then you're like, oh shoot, I press it one more time. I have to go all the way back. So I'm sure most of you guys knew that though. But yeah, so that's more or less going to be it. You have a couple more adjustments like man align. This is going to be good for man coverage for whatever reason. I'm just going to call a play real quick and fall down. But talking about man align, sometimes you'll see weird stuff like, or let's say we're in a cover 3 defense, cover 3, but I want to man align it. I want it to look like man coverage. I'm a heavy man coverage runner. I want all my plays to look the same. We're going to man align and press. And what does this play look like? It looks like man coverage a whole lot. So now it's man coverage. Now again, your adjustments, when you man align, your coverage adjustments will change. So now you see that this linebacker that was in a hook curl is now in a curl flat. But it does look like man coverage, and then it can actually throw people off. So it is a useful adjustment in my opinion. But that's pretty much it for Y. The last thing would be to play the 6, which will pretty much have your players play around that that 10-yard marker. We'll play the 6. And you'll see my hook curls are playing at exactly 10 yards. It's basically like if you set your zone drops to around 10 yards. That's kind of where they're defending. Now let's get into how to quick adjust. You will notice that we press Y. Our quick adjustment is going to be Y. So you double tap Y, and this is what button, or this is what pulls up. Now it depends formation to formation. Generally, you will see X on the left, Y, A, and B on the right. L1 will generally always be your slot corner. So pretty constant stuff there. We're going to start out with our outside corner, as I mentioned, Jalen Mills. So we double tap Y, press X, and now we have his adjustments pulled up. And you can go as fast as you want. You don't have to wait for these things to load. You can go, boom, and he's already in his zone. And you guys couldn't see anything happen. He's already in a soft squat. Outside third, boom, already in an outside third, back to the cloud flat. So you can press those as fast as you want. It will register unless you're lagging. So pretty simple stuff. But what do these all do? We're going to start out with our left analog stick. You have soft squat. What does a soft squat do? It's going to match onto any route unless there's something else going in the zone. So if we set something up like this offensively, you will see that the soft squat's going to run with the streak until something else kind of comes into his zone. So you see he actually follows him pretty far. That's why in cover 6, it's a good match defense because the soft squats do play pretty aggressive. Again, it is an aggressive zone. It's good to stop outside streaks, though, if they're trying to beat your cover 2 to the outside. Can be useful. The next one you have is just a standard cloud flat. You guys can kind of see how these play. These are a little bit more safe zones. They're not going to play super deep, though, so they are going to give up a little bit on the back end, but they do play a little bit further underneath. They're more conservative. They're not going to be as aggressive as a soft squat. The last thing you have is hard flats, so we're going to put Jalen Mills in a hard flat over here. And you will notice he's going to defend J.D. McKissick here on his little out route very, very well. We throw that and almost a pick 6. A lot of times it is. So again, keep in mind though, if you do adjust your zone drops in your coach adjustments and you adjust the flats, all of these zones will play the same. The soft squat will play the same as the cloud flat, will play the same as the hard flat if you adjust flats in your zone drops. If not, they will play different. Moving on, we got outside third on the left. This is once again good. If I want to create a cover 3 cloud, we just press B, push his left stick up, and now we can do whatever we want with the other guys, which I would go inside third and curl flat, which we'll show next, but that is kind of how you do everything. We'll just kind of reset this defense. I'm not sure why it's being weird, but that's your outside corner left stick. Now you got right stick. You can go ahead, put him in an outside quarter, which is going to just play quarters. This can be good in like a cover 3 cloud situation. You can go cover 3 cloud, but instead of a third, you go quarter. Over here, you have your deep half, which is going to be the right stick to the right. Good for cover 2 invert type defenses, and your cover 2 invert would kind of look like this if you were to run it on the left side over there. The other things you have are going to be blitz, which never blitz these outside corners. I'm not even going to explain that because you don't ever want to do that. But the last thing is man coverage. This is very good. You'll hear people say, you're going to man up this corner. A lot of times when I'm talking in my videos, I'll say man up X on whoever. Man up X on X, whatever, something like that. I'll say man up LB on B, something like that, which we'll go over LB because it is different. But man up X on X, how do I do that? You double tap Y, press your X button, press up on the right stick, and then press X again. You can't cross man, you can only man up that left corner on the running back or the outside receiver, but I'll show you how fast you can do it starting now. Done. So, second, probably less than a second. But again, it's a lot of buttons, but you practice these, you'll get it down. Let's go to our slot corner now. Once again, you double tap Y, press L1, slot corner. Take a look at this left side. I don't ever use a seam flat. Not going to talk about that, but I do use all three of the other ones on that left analog stick. You'll see the curl flat, the hard flat, and the vertical hook. The ones I will use the most out of this slot corner are going to generally be blitz, curl flat, and then man coverage. There will be situations where you vert hook someone, but a lot of times you can also send that heat off the edge, so you will want to know how to blitz your slot corner. But you do see that the coverage adjustments are going to be different, as you would probably expect with a slot nickel corner versus your outside corner. Now, curl flat's just going to be left stick to the right. If you don't know what a curl flat is yet, it's going to be a deeper zone. So, for example, I don't think I have any deep plays, unfortunately, but curl flats generally would take away things probably like this. If we just run like a basic out route combo, you would see the curl flat's going to defend that, and it's useful to know how to do both of those, because if you do adjust your zone drops, there will be situations where you would want your curl flats at different zone depths than your flats. If you guys do want to know how to use those coach adjustments if you're new to the game, check that out. I do have several videos, I think 2, maybe 3 on coach adjustments. One that was relatively recent as well. But curl flat was the first one, vertical hook. This is just going to be another one of those middle zones. You see stock out of cover 2, he's already in a vert hook, but let's say we wanted to run quarters, whatever, and we decided that we wanted to put him in a vert hook. I don't know why you would do this in this situation, but now he's in a vert hook. This is just going to be, again, yellow zone. You see in the Tampa 2, he's already in that zone, and it's just going to be a standard zone. Take a look at your slot corner here, just moving around, kind of taking away those things, really playing his side on that right side. Not going to follow anyone to the sideline, not going to follow anyone to the middle of the field hashes, but he is going to take away underneath, play pretty far up as well. Nice base zone. The last thing you have is hard flat, so if you immediately wanted to go to hard flat, you could just push that left stick to the left side, and you would be fine. Another way you could do that is just to go ahead and put him in a curl flat, and then once again, these curl flats, if you go ahead, so you see the slot corners in curl flat. If you shade underneath, which again is just triangle down on the right stick, he's now in a hard flat. So that's another way to get to hard flat. But in these quick adjustment situations, you might as well just put him in a hard flat. But if you were in cover 3, for example, we wanted 2 hard flats, you could just shade underneath. Let's say you didn't want that. You can actually shade over the top and get it back to cloud flats. But you can't get back to curl flats unless you go back to your quick adjustments. So pretty kind of standard stuff there. Now, let's go ahead and talk about his other adjustments, which is going to be man coverage. We already kind of showed how to do that. Bluff blitz, not too good. And then blitz. So there will be blitzes where we will want to send pressure off that edge. How do you do it? Double tap Y, L1, down on the right stick. Now he's in a blitz. And now you can maybe set up a weird blitz like this, where you occupy someone, boom, screaming pressure off the edge. Simple. That, again, just down on the right stick. That's all you have to do. For spacing wise, I like to baseline press, get him in that good position, but you could also cancel your baseline and press like this as well. So that's really it for L1. Again, we already talked about man coverage, but man coverage is a lot more useful for L1. You see he can man up onto 4 people. The only person he can't man up on is that X or square button. Let's talk about our safeties. Y and A are going to be the exact same, so we only have to talk about one. But starting out, we got a couple new adjustments on the left. You can put him in a hook curl, which is going to be our first one. You see he's going to go ahead and the safety, free safety that Devin McCourty's in a hook curl, so you can actually play a yellow zone from the top. Next one you have is inside third, which is very useful. It's going to be the left stick left. Play that middle third, deep half, which is what he was in. It's going to be that left analog stick up, and then the right is going to be the curl flat. So If you wanted to set something up like a cover 3 over here, I don't know, maybe you run your coverage like this, you could put him in a curl flat from the safety position, which is a pretty common adjustment. The other things he has is going to be on the right side. You can spy him. Again, I wouldn't really spy a safety. You can man him up. We already kind of talked about man coverage. And the nice thing about man coverage is it's always going to be the right stick up for every single player, so that is one constant. Your next thing is going to be blitz. You're never really going to blitz from the safety position, and the last thing is inside quarter. So in quarters, you wouldn't put him in a quarter too often, but really the most common things you see here is going to be deep half, curl flat, inside third, really sticking to that left side. Unless you wanted to man him up, which could be a situation. A lot of times, you're not going to man him up, though, just from a coverage standpoint. Out of cover 2, you don't want to man up your deep zone on somebody. Simple stuff. So that's going to be your quick adjustments for your secondary. Now let's talk about quick adjustments for your linebackers, for example. So again, it's going to be kind of the same concept. Once again, we went over that our linebacker adjustments were the D-pad to the right. And you can, again, exclusively move these guys to the right. You can pinch these guys if you wanted. You could go ahead, move them to the left, as you see there. They are kind of weird in how they act, but you could also spread them. And this guy moves slowly because I'm user on him. But those are kind of that. If you want to blitz all linebackers, which is an adjustment that you do hear a lot in a lot of blitzing schemes. How do I blitz all linebackers? D-pad to the right, down on the right stick. And now you see our 2 linebackers are blitzing. I wouldn't ever zone them all, and you go like right outside linebacker blitz. That's an adjustment I dislike because it just depends formation to formation. Left outside linebacker blitz. And now they're both blitzing. It's just pretty confusing. If I wanted to blitz someone, I would just go to the quick adjustments and do it. But how do we quick adjust? D-pad to the right twice, and now you have your 2 guys. We'll just show X. Both guys are going to be the exact same. And this is where you will see a lot of different zones, and a lot of these are used. We're going to start out with the left side. You have a mid-read. Mid-read is going to be this zone where he's going to play moderately deep in the middle of the field. He's not going to take away anything 40 to 50 yards down the field, but he is going to actually play pretty far. He also has the option to kind of match onto people. Like tight end post, he'll match on certain crossing routes, deep routes, so he does kind of play a matching assignment. You have hook curl over on the left, which is kind of what he was in standardly. Again, hook curls and vert hooks, very similar. The vert hooks will just kind of follow him deeper up the field. The hook curls will play a little bit more downwards, I want to say, more squared. The next thing you have is a curl flat. Curl flat, you can put a slot corner in a curl flat, a linebacker, a defensive end, and a safety in a curl flat. So you can put all those guys in curl flats. And then again, if we wanted a hard flat, we have that adjustment. We could also shade underneath. The last thing is middle third. So a lot of guys with cover 2, what are they going to do? They can just put him in a middle third here, and this will help your cover 2 play deep. Now you don't have 2 weaknesses. You really only have one, which is going to be your sideline, and the middle of the field is going to be on locks. So that's a good adjustment to go to. Hopping onto this right side, you have hard flat, which we kind of talked about. You have QB spy, and you have man coverage once again, right stick up. And with these linebackers, you can actually man them up on everybody, which is why potentially having safeties at linebackers can actually be pretty helpful. So you can man them up on anybody. The last thing is going to be blitz. And again, if we wanted to only blitz one, instead of using like right outside linebacker blitz, I would just double tap my D-pad, press A down on the right stick. It's what I'm more comfortable with, so I'm going to use it. That's really going to be it for your linebackers. Last thing is going to be your defensive linemen. You're going to have 4 here. We're going to go over defensive ends and defensive tackles. They will be different. Starting out with defensive ends, we're going to go over Kyle Van Noy at the X or square icon. Once again, we kind of have a seam flat. Never use seam flats. I rarely will use a vertical hook. Certain situations like cover 4 quarters, you will actually use a vert hook. Let's actually show that. So I'm going to go ahead, audible, go to quarters. And if I'm running quarters, what I like to do is put that right defensive end in a vert hook. So to do that, you double tap D-pad to the left once again. And then you go down on the left stick. Now he's in a vert hook, and this will have your cover 4 quarters playing really good. You just have an extra zone that I don't have to user. He helps out on routes that kind of got burnt. With my user, of course, I would want to match on to RB. Holy crap, rushing. And this is a weakness. If you do put one of those D-ends in coverage, you rush 3, you're not going to get good pressure. And I think one of the guys was doing the mannequin challenge, if I was not mistaken. But So you have vert hook. You can also curl flat, as we mentioned. You can curl flat these guys. You can actually, I guess you can't curl flat the D tackle's my fault, but you have curl flat, you have hard flat. So curl flat, hard flat. Let's say you're running over the top, you're running cover 3 sky. We want to curl flat or hard flat one of these guys. We can double enable like this. Maybe if we didn't want to use our linebacker. So you can do that. Again, seam flat. Nah, I'm not a big fan of that. You have man coverage. Really, you wouldn't want to man up your D end on a, what's it called, receiver, tight end. You would probably want to man him up on a running back if you were to, so you could do that. That's really what I would kind of stick with if you were to man him up. Then you have spy. QB spying is pretty useful out of the defensive end position. That's going to be your right analog stick to the left-hand side. QB spy, and that's going to, again, get a fast guy there. You can definitely help out. If they have escape artists, QB spies won't matter, so don't bother, but if they don't, it can be helpful if he's scrambling out. Then you have bluff blitz and blitz, both kind of useless because most D linemen are usually always blitzing, so shouldn't be too big of a worry. And then you have your regular defensive lineman adjustments. If you ever hear somebody crash, say slant outside or crash outside, what does that mean? It's just going to be your right stick up. It's slant outside. A lot of people will call it crash. Either works. You can crash inside. That's going to move these guys inside. And this is, you really will only use these for blitzes. Certain blitzes you kind of have to crash up to get the better engagement with your defensive lineman, but you can go really either way. And then you also have shifting to the left. If people say pinch your D-line, for blitzes, that's just down on the left stick. Spread your D-line for blitzes. But that's really the majority of it for your defensive ends. Last we got defensive tackles. You see on this left side, we actually have some weird stuff. Vert hook left, vert hook right, hook curl left. If you want to drop in coverage, you could go either side, so we can actually move this D tackle right on a left-hand zone. We could put him on a hook curl to the right. We could go vert hook to the right down. I don't use these ever, personally. Meh, they're good if you need them. Most people will kind of like to blitz their D tackles for run purposes and pass purposes, and then again, you can kind of man these guys up, QB spy. Rarely am I ever adjusting my D tackle in anything other than maybe a QB spy. I'm not really generally dropping him in coverage or manning him up, although you could man him up on, I think, only the tight end or tight end or running back. But yeah, man, that's really going to do it for the video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you drop a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, and peace. I'm out of here.